Secretary Shringla has wrapped up his two-day visit to Nepal. The secretary-level meeting this time around was deemed significant as high-level talks materialized after a long hiatus seen in the relations between the two nations. If we are to go by the foreign relations experts, the development scene could just be the beginning of a positive turnaround in the Nepal-India ties. Good morning, I'm Sarah Sapsanama and these are the headlines of the hour. Prime Minister KP Oli all geared up to defend allegations levelled against him at the party secretariat meeting scheduled for today. The Indian Foreign Secretariat level visit turned significant in improving the soured relations. Onus on Nepal and India to reap benefit. Iran's senior nuclear scientist Mohsen Fakhrizadeh assassinated amid rising concerns on increased amount of uranium production in the country. And England takes a 1-0 lead in its 3-match T20 series against South Africa, clinches a 5-wicket victory over the home team. Prime Minister KP Oli is all set to defend allegations levelled against him at the Secretariat meeting scheduled for today. Sources have said that the Prime Minister has prepared a report defending himself against the charges incorporated in Executive Chairman Pushpa Kamal Dahal's political document.
The much-awaited Secretariat meeting of the ruling party, which is pushed to the verge of a split due to the escalating dispute between the chairman duo, is taking place on Saturday afternoon at the Prime Minister's official residence, Palwadar. Sources have said that the Prime Minister is all geared up to respond to the charges made by Executive Chairman Dahal's political report that was presented on the 13th of November earlier this month. Executive Chairman Dahal has raised serious objections to the Prime Minister's unilateral ways, dragging the top executive into corruption and commission games. The Prime Minister's Secretariat has said that the party chairman was ready with his own report defending himself. Sources have also claimed that the Prime Minister's report has counterattacked Executive Chairman Dahal, pointing to what the report says flaws and weaknesses of the other chairman. Prime Minister Oli earlier had asked for a 10-day deadline to furnish his response, citing that Executive Chairman Dahal had made the allegations against him without his prior information. Executive Chairman Dahal has the backing of senior leaders Madhav Kumar Dapal and Chalanath Khanal, which has put the Prime Minister in the minority in the party's secretariat. Meanwhile, the development on Saturday afternoon in the Secretariat meeting will clear the scene for a possible party split or the end of the political crisis for the time being.
Meanwhile, 13 civil rights activists have issued a joint press statement in defense of the ruling Nepal Communist Party chairman and Prime Minister KP Oli, raising question on the overall civil society and its role. Ironically, most of the 13 activists are also the ones who had done the same in 2 of similar previous occasions of intra-party conflict. While the Constitution ensures the rights of activists to fend for anyone or criticize, yesterday's press statement has invited controversy for the civil society.
सत्ताकै कार्यकारी अध्यक्षले नै चार्ज लाइसक्नु भयो नि त राष्ट्रघाती देशद्रोही भ्रष्टाचारीको संरक्षक भनेर तपाई हामीले होइन सत्तारूढ दलकै कार्यकारी अध्यक्षले चार्ज लाइसक्नु भयो त्यस्तो बेलामा आफ्ना मालिकहरूलाई खुसी पार्नको लागि होइन प्रभु तपाई इमानदार हुनुहुन्छ तपाई सक्षम हुनुहुन्छ तपाईको कुनै विकल्प छैन नेपालमा मरुन्जेलसम्म तपाईले पदमा खाइराख्नु पर्छ भन्ने जमात त निस्किन्छन् हो त्यसैले जसले सत्ताको दलाली गर्छ सीमा नागेर मूल्य विपरीत त्यो चाहिँ विगतमा आउने अहिले त्यस्तै साबित हुँदै जान्छ.
The signatories have argued that the government led by Prime Minister Oli should be allowed to complete its 5-year term, while acknowledging that it was a democratic practice for parties to change executive positions in order to maintain balance of power. Critics call it a democratic practice to express views on any issue and say that it is essential to have a public debate on statements issued by the civil society. Indian Foreign Secretary Shringla wrapped up his two-day visit to Nepal, ending a hiatus of dialogues witnessed in Nepal-India relations. The visit has been termed as significant in improving the soured relations between the two countries. It is, however, only time will tell how the road paved by Shringla's visit will be utilized in coming days.
During his two-day visit to Nepal, Indian Foreign Secretary Shringla emphasized on better coordination between the two nations in the days ahead. Shringla had landed on Nepal with an enthusiastic body language on Thursday morning as he engaged himself in bilateral talks and also called on some high-profile leaders. Meanwhile, Foreign Minister KP Oli has given a message to India through Shringla that Nepal wishes to resolve all border disputes, riding on historical documents and evidences. Foreign relations experts also view that the current visit of Shringla and his meetings with the President, the Prime Minister, among others, has sent a positive signal in Nepal-India relations in the coming days. The bilateral talks between Nepal and India that materialized after 20 months has dwelt on a host of issues, agreeing to give continuity to dialogues between the two nations to end existing border disputes. Likewise, the talks were also held on trade, transits, connectivity, infrastructure development, agriculture, along with the reports of the Eminent Persons Group. The Indian side has responded positively to the issues raised by Nepal and has also pledged maximum support in dealing with the ongoing corona crisis. At this present time, it is hoped that Shringla's visit to Nepal is the beginning of many more high-level visits between the two countries to end all existing disputes between Nepal and India.
Coronavirus continues its surge in the country as 23 more individuals succumbed to COVID-19 yesterday. The total number of deaths due to COVID-19 has now reached 1,435, with 534 from Kathmandu Valley alone. A total of 1,703 new cases of COVID-19 were confirmed yesterday, taking the infection tally to 229,343. Out of the infected, 822 cases were reported from the federal capital. Likewise, 1,236 individuals registered full recovery yesterday, taking the national recovery tally past 209,400 mark. Meanwhile, 354 infected people are being treated in intensive care units, whereas 54 individuals are under ventilator support. There are over 17,237 active coronavirus cases in the country at the moment. The government has decided to reopen educational institutions under the supervision of local levels, despite the rising coronavirus scenario in the country. In this context, in our Public Voice segment, we had asked the locals in Udaipur district how reasonable is it to resume the current academic session amid the looming health crisis due to COVID-19. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
बालबालिकाको भविष्य त भोलि एक वर्षपछि पढ्दा पनि हुन्छ हैन त्यो कुरालाई करेक्सन गरेर जान सकिन्छ तर अब महामारीकै रूपमा फैलियो भने नियन्त्रण गर्न चाहिँ बहुत गाह्रो हुन्छ
घर बसेर नानीहरुको पढाइ चाहिँ सबै बिग्रिसकेको छ हैन तर अब पठाउन पनि डरै छ के बीचमा अब गाडीमा पठाउन पनि डरै भइरहेको छ हैन गाडीमा पठाउँदाखेरि तीबाट संक्रमण हुने हो कि भन्ने
पढाइ अस्तव्यस्त भएको अवस्थामा खोल्नु पर्ने चाहिँ हो तर अब यस्तो महामारीको बेलामा खासै हामी पनि निर्धक्क भएर ढुक्क भएर नानीहरुलाई पठाउन नसक्ने अवस्थामा नि छौं
हामी त बिग्रियौं तर यो कोरोनाले गर्दाखेरि बच्चाको भविष्य कहिले पनि नबिगारौं
सानो त अहिले घरै बस्छ ठुलो त कता कता हिँड्छ नि स्कुल लागेर ढुक्क हुन्छ भन्ने त्यस्तो छ
मास्क लगाउनुपर्छ सोशल डिस्टेन्स पालन गरेर पढाउनु पर्छ
बालबालिकाको पढाइ बिग्रियो हैन त्यस कारणले खोल्नुपर्छ
उमेर सँगसँगै उनीहरुको पढाइ अगाडि सरिरहेको थियो नि 2 वर्ष लस हुनेबित्तिकै उनीहरुको उमेर कट्छ हो के भन्नु त त्यसले गर्दाखेरि राज्यले गरेको ठीक छ यो
विद्यालयले सामाजिक दूरी कायम गरेर पठन पाठनमा राख्न सक्छ भनेदेखि ठीक हो नत्रबादेखि यसमा केदेखि चाहिँ बिमार केदेखि चाहिँ सर्दी धेरै प्रबल केदेखि चाहिँ सम्भावना भएको हुनाले यसमा सतर्कै हुनुपर्ने कुरा लाग्छ
Time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
The question is, why is Lawmakers Development Fund used in small projects by breaching procedures? Your options are A. Lawmakers' ways, B. Trying to please cadres, and C. Lack of accountability. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C, and can send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And with that, we move on to our special segment, Media Watch.
The government on Sunday brought an ordinance to punish individuals involved in arbitrating rape incidents. The cabinet meeting held on Sunday decided to make a legal provision for imprisonment from 6 months to 3 years and a fine of 30,000 rupees for individuals involved in arbitrating rape incidents. Minister for Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs, Shivamaya Tumvahamfe, informed that the ordinance has been issued for imprisonment for 6 more months if a person holding public office makes such a compromise. Stating that the ordinance stipulates that imprisonment cannot be waived in rape cases, Minister Tumvahamfe informed that the provision of life imprisonment in a rape case of an individual below 10 years of age and above 70 years of age has been maintained in the ordinance. The new provision recognizes that males are also raped. The cabinet decision was forwarded to the President's office for the endorsement of the ordinance. 2 new records were set in the share market on Thursday as the NEPSE index and the single-day turnover touched an all-time high. The overall NEPSE gained 18.43 points on Thursday to settle at 1,893.24 points, the highest close in NEPSE history. Earlier, the NEPSE had touched an all-time high 1,881.45 points on 27th of July 2016. Likewise, the single-day turnover crossed 7 billion rupees for the first time. A total of 17.18 million units of shares of 201 companies were traded for just over 7.61 billion rupees on Thursday. The written examinations of grade 12, which had been postponed due to the coronavirus pandemic, started from Tuesday. The examinations started by implementing the security criteria set by the government. The National Education Board, contrary to its previous decision, decided to conduct final examinations of grade 11 and 12 amid the coronavirus crisis. The grade 11 and 12 examinations that were scheduled to be held around mid-April had been postponed due to the coronavirus pandemic. The exams for grade 11 are being conducted by different schools and colleges, while that for grade 12 started from Tuesday. The National Education Board informed that the examinations would conclude by this coming Tuesday by holding an exam even on Saturday. The board decided that 60% of the marks of grade 12 students would be evaluated by the schools and colleges and 40% through the written examinations. More than 400,000 students are taking the grade 12 written examinations in more than 4,100 examination centers. This is Abhyuday Shrestha for Media Watch and Kantipur News Desk.
That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.